Thank you very much. Senator Pete Ricketts, Republican from the great state of Nebraska, joins me now. Senator, does this new deal guarantee China will not have access to our data, or do you still have security concerns?
I think we need to know more of the details about what exactly this means, and I think the concerns that have been raised are very legitimate. The point that there's two big points. One, to secure American data. We don't want the Chinese to be able to access American data, and so we need to make sure that Oracle, who's supposed to be providing security for this, can guarantee that. That's one point. And the second point is the Communist Party of China going to be able to continue to do influence campaigns through TikTok like they have in the past? One of the ways that we can assure that is if TikTok will then allow us to have data with regard to things like, hey, if we do a search on Tiananmen Square, is that search being suppressed? So I think there's some things that we still need to know. I think we still have to watch this deal. We need to make sure the data is secure, and we got to make sure the Communist Party of China is not actually trying to do influence campaigns or push propaganda through this platform that reaches 200 million Americans.
Next one, Senator. Trump says he has sent a massive armada to the Mideast. It's arrived. He says, quote, as I told Iran once before, make a deal. They didn't. And there was Operation Midnight Hammer, a major destruction of Iran. The next attack will be far worse, end quote. Senator, this morning, the Iranians say they are ready for dialogue, but they're ready to defend themselves as well, if pushed. If they don't make a deal, do you expect our president to attack Iran militarily?
I certainly expect the president to continue to support the protesters in Iran. I know people in Nebraska are very concerned about the number of deaths that have happened in Iran. We're looking at 10, 15,000, or maybe even double or more of that number. And so the president is supporting the protesters, and that's a good thing. He's got a lot of options, and it doesn't have to be kinetic, right? It could be things such as cyber attacks. We also need to continue to provide things like Starlink or VPN access so that we can get the information out. You know, repressive regimes like we see in Iran tried to really cut off their populations, tried to hide this stuff. One of the things that we can do as the United States is make sure that they've got the ability to get that information out so that the world can put pressure on Iran. And then, of course, there's other things we can do, like going after the shadow fleet of oil tankers to put more pressure on the Iranian economy.
But you don't assemble a massive armada of military power if you don't use it. Granted, it intimidates Iran, but, it's not going to hang around forever. You got to use it at some point. Let me put it to you like this. The Revolutionary Guards run the military, and they run the oppression in Iran. If they open fire again on demonstrators, we know the name of the general in charge of the Revolutionary Guards. Should we kill him?
Again, that would be a decision I'd leave up to the president. He certainly made that decision in the past to be able to do that with Soleimani, for example. Yeah. And that was a very successful strike. The president has a lot of options. Having the carrier group there gives him more options to be able to do things. And remember, part of what makes our military so successful is misdirection. Giving the enemy an idea of what might happen and then doing something else. So, again, I think he's got lots of options. Having that carrier group expands his number of options, and there's multiple ways that we can hit Iran.
Okay. And moving on to another subject, the House Freedom Caucus insists on funding DHS. There's going to be a big fight over this, and it could mean a government shutdown. You're on the Budget Committee. Are we really going to see another closure for the government?
It's really a terrible thing that the Democrats are talking about shutting down the government once again. The Democrats just led us through the longest government shutdown in our country's history for over 40 days. And I got to tell you again, Nebraskans get really frustrated with the government shutdown. They expect us to actually keep the government open and keep providing services. And if you shut down the Department of Homeland Services, you're going to hit FEMA, especially after this winter storm along the eastern seaboard. What, are you going to just let all these people just try and do this by themselves? You're going to impact TSA. These are the people that are keeping us flying and safe. So I would really encourage my Democrat colleagues to reconsider this. We got to keep government open. And part of the thing that this is performative is that ICE is funded for the next 3 years. That was done last year. So they really can't even get at what they're most unhappy about. This is where I think the Democrats need to sit down and work out a deal with us. We need to keep government open. That's important for the American people, and it's important for Nebraskans.
Senator Pete Ricketts, thank you very much for joining us this morning.